Greetings, greetings. This is Body-Culinary, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. So, in the midst of working, I wanted to come on quickly to answer a question from a subscriber. So, hope your day is off to a great start and you got some water and some pretty glasses. So, one subscriber asked me in the comments, what do I do if I crave something cheesy? And she was inquiring as to, like, how do you go about being dairy free? So, what I will say is this, and I'm very much a realist. Now, do keep in mind, I used to eat flesh. I'm classically trained as a chef. I've eaten every high-end junk food and every low-end junk food. There used to be addicted to potato chips, Hot Pockets. I even used to eat those pies, those little Drake's pies with the cream filling, which I thought were delicious back then. I mean, Twix, what do you call those M&Ms with peanuts and M&Ms plain? It was really bad. It was bad. I wondered if I would ever get off it. Then I was addicted to all the health junk, what I'll call now health junk, the healthy version of it. I mean, I managed to find vegan vegan peanut butter cups, blue corn chips, spicy blue corn chips. I was a popcorn addict. I mean, I would go to the health food store and get like a bag like this. Me and my homie, she would have her bag and I'd have her bag, and we sit on the steps. Now, fortunately, I've been exercising for many years. But that being said, oh my gosh, I used to like pizza back in the days, calzone. I'd probably be times four bodies, and a morbid obesity runs in my family. So all that being said, it's been a journey of over 3 decades, right? And so even when I used to do fitness competitions, because I am a personal trainer and a fitness coach, I knew intuitively I didn't want to diet. I love to eat. I like the experience of it. I'm very sensual with foods in terms of I enjoy the sense of food, the color of food, different types of sea salts, all of that. Greetings. Hey, just left a comment on your post. Always sending one positive. Hey, fallen skies, sending you and your family warm positive vibrations. I got to see what you're growing over there. I want to see what you and your peeps been growing. But all of that said, short answer is I don't crave anything cheesy. And when I think cheesy, right, let's break it down, because I like food. I'm very central to the experience of food. Remember the gooiness of the cheese. I'm very sensory when it comes to food. The way it used to be cheesy and gooey, and the pizzas. I've tasted the dollar slices. I remember back in the day when you could get, a slice and a can of soda. Oh my gosh, for $1. I used to be able to get a slice and a can of soda this many moons ago for $1. $1. Coming home from school, you get you a slice. You're lucky if you had $1 in your pocket. And I used to love to eat the crust. I used to love the crust of the pizza. It doesn't occur to me the same. Greetings. It doesn't occur to me the same. And I would say, looking back, this I'll also say, I don't think it doesn't have to take you 30 years or 30-something years to make the transition. I also don't think it has to take you to spend thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on every supplement, every powder, every protein powder. I've done it all for it. I've done every protein powder, egg white protein, whey protein, vegan protein. A lot of it you just don't have to do. I remember last time I threw away supplements, I had so many bottles of tinctures. I had every essential oil. I don't think you need to do all of that. And this is one of the reasons why I love whole, fresh, unprocessed foods. Living foods is my preference. You don't have to put any labels on it. You are on your journey. Don't follow me. Your Kai invites you to tap into your divine, not religion, not cult, divine, innate. You were born with it, common sense. And I encourage you to a listening. If one of the things, even though fitness, got you covered, they're not a problem. Exercise, not a problem. Flexibility, working around injuries, not a problem. But the root, also trained in fasting and nutritional fasting, the root, the whys, there's something deeper that's an undercurrent of why we're choosing all these cheesy, gooey things. Now I'm going to ask you, so I'm gonna give y'all some freebie. I'm gonna give y'all free. Hopefully this is helpful to you. Let me know if this is helpful to you. Please feel free to comment and marinate on these things. Marinate on these things. So I want you to think, as someone with a womb, and even if you don't have a womb, you have a prostate, and over 85%, if not, I'm not mistaken, of men, especially men of color and other men as well, vanilla men, will deal with issues with their prostate. Many men don't even know where their prostate is. I'm not trying to be insulting, right? Don't even know what it physically looks like or where it is located, let alone the health of it. Many of us, we leave school without having been educated on our womb. And most often it's men folk, no offense, that are educating us on our womb. And by that time, usually they're about to give you a diagnosis and remove your womb, which is directly connected to our vitality, to our hormones, to feeling fresh and new. That being said, I don't want anyone to feel any way if your womb has been removed, because it's still a lot that you can do. But I want you to tap into your own common sense. Does it make sense to put ourselves in harm's way? You tell me, right? Because I'm a catalyst. I'm not healing you. I provide education. I provide instruction, but I can't do anybody's work for you. And I'm not here to tell grown folks what to do. I'm not in the business of trying to convince people. I can only share one woman's experience. You may have a whole nother experience. But all that gooey stuff, right? Anything you put in has to be processed, metabolized, and our body absorbs the nutrition that we need and passes out the waste. So someone that has a womb that is has a self-cleansing mechanism, right? It excretes, it ovulates, and the secretions down there are different when you're ovulating. The smell of it, the scent of it, your body's communicating all the time. It will change depending on what you're eating. So at this particular point in time, and now when I say addicted, I don't play games with addiction. So this is just me. People have been laughing at me for years. I have watched documentaries I've shared numerous times of junkies because I wanted to understand from a young age the self-sabotage and the socially acceptable suicide, because a lot of times we do it alone and we do it in groups. So at this point, I don't desire anything cheesy that's like glue that you can pull it apart. The idea that coming out of my womb, or somebody that's go look at the community page that had cystic acne, what is in is coming out. It's very elementary. It's very, very simple. I remember back in the days when doctors would say that what you ate had nothing to do with what your skin was looking like. Now, intuitively, that didn't make any kind of sense to me. But then I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But then they had letters behind their name, right? They went to school, right? And as one of my mentors said to me, they are in the business of studying disease. They're not in the business of studying wellness. Wellness is not after the fact now. Johnny come lately, folks are studying wellness when indigenous people, that's why I say all the time, I trust my grandma and the great grandmothers, because they had their wits. Two of my great grandmothers and my grandma Lou, who I talk about all the time. She says right there in the picture, my grandma Lou, vibrant, vitality, common sense, rocking her own hair and her skin, didn't need a stitch of makeup. In her 90s, her mom, my great grandma, and my great grandma on my southern side, the grandma that was eating drink diet soda, exited in her 60s. So I don't crave that. Why? Because I educated myself. I spent so much time in education because I had to know. I had to know how my mom and the women in my family went from this to this. How? I needed to know why. Even though I didn't have a language for it, I couldn't articulate it years ago, I could sense depression. I could sense anger. I could sense repression. I could sense and observe medication because it didn't make sense to me. But I watched with the eyes of a child and I made connections. And I knew I need to change something the way I eat because I don't, to the best of my ability, that I don't want that. I don't want that result. I'm crystal clear. Clarity is the shortcut. I'm going to leave with this. Clarity is your shortcut. And I know if what I say doesn't resonate with you, please, please leave it right here. I'm not meaning to offend anybody. I'm just sharing one woman's experience. But I was addicted. Many things to me now do not occur as food. If I got as a personal trainer, as a fitness competitor, when I experienced myself and my colleagues and other competitors working like a demon to burn stuff off, metabolize it off, take fat burners and all kind of supplements and stuff for the joints, all these extremes, beating our body. And then I'm going to tell you, I had a book. I don't even know if I never released it, called What Your Personal Trainer Won't Tell You. I was amazed and astounded at what I discovered as a fitness competitor, an all-natural one, because I never had any interest in drugs, never had any interest in weed. Did try it. Maybe I tried it twice. Once with my twin brother on my 16th birthday. I think my 16th birthday, because I was just curious. And after, I was like, this is a waste of money. I'd rather chew something. I can't eat this. I'm good. And then just another time I took one puff, and I was like, this makes my hands stink. I don't want purple. I'm not knocking anybody that does that, because there's many people that are dear to me that do it. So everybody may not have the same experience. But to me, the desire, I'm like, why should I have a need to zone out? It's like, why should I have a need to vacation all the time if I'm living a fulfilling life? But back to the food. Many things don't occur to me as food anymore, as nourishment. It's got flavor. It's tasty. It was delicious. But every time I ate it, it jacked up my skin. Even today, if I eat too many nuts, if they are not prepared a certain way. That's why I say, if you're not having a certain kind of experience, you'll stay vicariously living through others until you have an experience, until you learn, until you have an experience. Then you don't have to guess anymore. That's why I love my grandma and them elder people, because you could never sell them the okie doke, because they had personal experience. And once you've had the experience, and I've done so much experimentation on myself over the years that I feel pretty grounded, and I'm also very open to learning still after all these years. So the thought of having my womb taken out, the thought of thick secretions coming out of my womb, the thought of having to cook my yoni over pots of steam, because many of us are walking around, I'm trying to keep it real, walking around with stuff because we're not vetting who we're allowing into our orifices. And that is as a result of wanting so much attention. I'm not going to demonize it. I'm going to make it real, because we crave the attention. We're suspending a vetting process for food, for what we're letting into our psyche, and for people we let into our intimate, most sacred spaces. Especially as a woman, we are deeply affected. I've been very clear for many years as a young woman, and really no one ever wanted to have these conversations with me, because we're moving along in groupthink. If I had to be somebody in my 20s or 30s and looking, no offense to Meg, I think her name is Meg Stallion or something like that, and Cardi B, it's not my generation. I'll be very real with you. I'm not hating on them, because many young women may think this is liberation, but there's something missing. There's zero vetting process. So I have observed that there's misleading going on, and we're allowing ourselves to be misled by food companies. Somebody's going to tell you that what you eat doesn't affect what you look like. So I value my health. I used to have to go to the refrigerator and get insulin for my grandma, right? So if you observe your pattern, this is why I love quiet so much. And I do like to talk a lot. That's something I got to be very observant of, because I have something to share. But also, what helps me, stops me, attracts me is understanding and comprehension, right? And so in your quiet moment, just meditate. What you put in has to come out. You absorb the nutrition and it passes out. Does it have fiber in it? All right. You ever look at the growth spurt of baby cows and calves? Their growth spurt? Their DNA has information in it and instructions, does it not? So if you're putting something into your body temple, and all of these plants have DNA, they have instructions, they have information. That's why I'm the trainer to tell you to grow something. I know people have been laughing at me for years, but it's going to activate a type of intelligence and common sense. When you watch a plant go through all of its cycles, all of its cycles of growth and sprouting, each one is different. It's like, wow, the fact that one little seed can grow into a whole tree, that's frigging amazing. And so we're disconnected from our common sense. We've been conditioned away from critical thinking. We don't question anything. Somebody has a certain kind of outfit on. If they speak with enough confidence, we don't question them. That's crazy. If somebody looks fine enough, they got enough makeup and enough gift of gab, you don't question them. So at this point, I don't want anything cheesy in my yoni. I don't want cheesy secretions coming out of my vagina. I'm not trying to sound, it's a vagina, my womb. I like it. I like it healthy. So I prefer juices. I prefer bitters. I like things that are delicious. And I'm still learning. After 30-something, I'm still learning about my hair. Why this information isn't shared with us. So I don't crave it. Now, in terms of textures and taste, I do as a chef that I manipulate textures and ingredients and things from the whole, to me, it is an art. I call it, just my own little lingo. It occurs to me as reclaiming what I call reclaiming the ways of the mothers and the grandmothers. Because I used to wonder how come Grandma Lou, let me show you my Grandma Lou. This is Grandma Lou. I talk about her all the time. People are like, oh, Grandma Lou again. You see this woman right here? That's me in the show. That's my grandma. I love me. Oh my God, the most pleasant, present human being I have ever met. She didn't have no yoga classes. She didn't have the Dalai Lama. She didn't have a therapist. Vibrant, pleasant attitude, always glass half full. And I used to wonder why is everybody angry and Grandma Lou's not? And I'm sure as looking at chocolate and being this long on the planet, that she had been through and seen some stuff. But a very proactive and just pleasant singing, dancing purpose and person, and also had a focus. But I paid attention to her patterns. One of the greatest gifts that she ever gave me was eat your own food. She said, if I want garbage, I mean me on garbage. The principle, she wasn't vegan or vegetarian, but the principle of eat your own food, I got that from my Grandma Lou, right? And so I watched a grandmother and 2 great-grandmothers with their wits about them. I didn't hear these women complaining about aches and pains. And I've seen people in their 30s and 40s complaining about aches and pains. It's not that we'll never get aches or pains, we'll never get an injury. But I observe patterns. That is one of the gifts of being a woman. Our bodies and our cycles are tuned. We're tuned into cycles, and it makes us very observant. The fact that you can give life, the fact that you have a menstrual cycle, natural born woman, not knocking other folks, but as a natural born woman, your vehicle is divinely attuned to cycles. It's giving you information. Even men, if you're paid attention, but if you don't have any men giving you this information, even women are teaching, children how to clean themselves, your backside, your front side. We pay attention, like we're attuned to patterns. If somebody is sick, stomach ache, changes in your skin. I used to check my offspring, my child's elimination. I used to school them constantly. I am unapologetic about we are the keepers of the culture. We transmit culture and information. So I get it. Many of us are missing that. Or some of our parents are so traumatized or just so not present. A lot of us have been on our own. So all I have to say, I don't crave cheesy and dairy-free. And I figured out that I had to learn how to manipulate the whole fresh ingredients. I don't want to live on a diet. And I like to have fun and play. I move firstly because it makes me feel good. They convince us not to believe in ourselves. Yes. And let's not get it twisted. It's on a global scale. Now, I can't be responsible for everybody. I'm just contributing. If you ask me about fruits and vegetables and movement all day, growing some plants, I wasn't raised in the Caribbean, been there numerous times. I've traveled a nice little portion of the world, but I am very attuned to patterns and I will learn, from anybody. So greetings, Roosevelt. Yep. Thank you for sharing your opinion and experiences. It helps to put my own perspectives in order. Yes. Wow. Thanks for making this video and answering my question. You're welcome, Charlie LaFrost TV. Because sometimes I feel like over the years, like just as a parent, I don't know, parenting to me is very precious because I'm like, what would I have wanted somebody else to give me? And I take the best and I leave the rest, right? I'm at a point of maturity where I don't have to hold adults hostage. They had their own issues that had nothing to do with me way before I came along, so I can give them some grace, right? They know everything, and my life is my responsibility. So I take the best gifts that my mom and my dad and my grandma, both of them, they had to give me, and the rest is on me. That's why I'm like, taking 1000% responsibility for your life will free you so you can release the past. Not that things haven't happened to you, but it's not serving you to stay stuck looping because we got stuff to do. You know, you want to play and have fun and experience joy while you're out here on this side of the dirt. I don't know. I don't know about you. I don't know what's going to happen on the other side. That's not my focus. If anything, I'm focused on this side, and I know that's going to be a continuation. I don't know what that's going to look like. So if I'm responsible in this life cycle with the vehicle that has been gifted to me, then, you know, I think, I'm setting the chances up and the cards up in my favor. And then we can also be very hypocritical, man, as adults. You know, we expect young people to know stuff in their 20s and stuff. No, just because you're at legal drinking age, what kind of value system is that? That doesn't mean you have common sense. You definitely don't have a frame of experience, a frame of reference, right? Just because your body is of a certain age and you make some of your worst choices, 19, 20, 21, 22, choices that could totally take you off your trajectory, and choices that now, as my godfather used to tell me, in the adult realm, now you're casting spells for which there's no antidote, and now other people are involved in the choices that you make. So nobody's having all of these conversations with us all the time. Sometimes we can forget, and we can also be pressured to be so hypocritical in churches and as parents, like we never made mistakes before. Oh, we won't have the real conversations that can save people a lot of heartache. We're following, not me, I'm not, but we're following these, and one time I might have, in ignorance, following these celebrities. We have adults following all these T channels, and just we get so mesmerized by dragging everybody's name through the mud. It's too much. It's too much. Does it leave you any more well-informed? Does it leave you inspired to get into a movement practice? Does it leave you more inspired? And we're enticed by it because it's a distraction from dealing. That's just my perspective. And we're sitting here, and that mentality, it makes you want to eat snacks because it's a mentality of not being accountable. It's so much easier to look at other people's lives than to focus on what we need to do because it's not appealing. Sometimes it may seem boring. It may seem like you're alone. Nobody wants to go through withdrawal. You don't want somebody to tell you to put something down. The first time I had a health consultation and somebody told me what I needed to let go of, I was pissed off and I went right and got me some junk food snacks. That was me. It took me many years to realize humble the person was 1000% on point. But we want the fantasy. So if you just want people to give you one side of life, so everything is good and positive and, sweet tasting, that's why we all jacked up, because you just want everything to feel. That's not real. Does childbirth, does that feel friggin' fantastic? No, that wasn't the process for it to get on its side. So we're being sold an illusion, and we've allowed ourselves to be medicated into complacency and only wanting one side of life, only wanting the so-called good. We don't want the bitters. We want to put sweetener on top of it. So I don't crave cheesy stuff or dairy-like. That being said, I can manipulate the textures and the flavors of pretty much any food that you put in front of me. I will work it. So I think of all those grandmas. I know they didn't waste. One time they could not shop. They didn't have access to where everybody else could shop. So they only could work with what they had. And that to me is a principle. That's a blessing to be able to flip it. That is a gift. So I look to maximize and leverage that principle of flipping it every which way to Sunday. I don't care if it's a beet. I don't care if it's a coconut with the meat and the water. That is a principle that I call the ways of the mothers and the grandmothers. And I celebrate it. I put it on the map. It's as I can't say enough about that, like how that occurs to me. The ways of the mothers and the grandmothers, and it is missing. It is missing. It is missing. It's something because we're looking out to everyone and everything else. And again, I learn from all human beings. But there's things about our culture that we're not celebrating, and then we have people come and sell it back to us at a premium. So I say, nah. The ways of the mothers and the grandmothers, I'm here to put it on the map, unapologetically. And I can enjoy stuff from my other counterparts. on the planet that I share the planet with. But cheesy stuff in the womb, I don't think that that's what we want excreting, because that's most likely a sign that there's growth. So if we got constantly things that coagulate and get solid, and cheese and these things, a lot of times, so I'm gonna tell you as a chef, a lot of times these things are not real cheese. So now with some of the European chefs that I've worked with, you know, I had one chef, because we don't have, cheese is not really in our flavor profile as, you know, sun-kissed melanated folks. That's not a primary food for us, right? So the European folks and some of my colleagues, they would tell me, you don't know cheese. And they get into some deep blue cheeses and vein cheese and stinky cheese. Initially, I was so turned off. And it was a chef said, you're going to learn to like these cheeses, and you're going to learn to like alcohol, which I never did, but I had an open mind because I don't know what the hype is. So I never developed a palate for alcohol. I don't care for alcohol. I don't care for the result of alcohol, not knocking anybody that does. But I have a curiosity about learning, and it has really grounded me. So I sampled cheeses. I worked in a really high-end gourmet shop that was next to the chef that I worked for his restaurant. And so even though I didn't have a palate for the smell and the way it's produced, and learn about the bacteria and these cheese caves and a cottage industry, like, it's not American cheese, it's not cheese. So many Europeans turn their nose up at it. And I've watched whole cultures of people would come and spend the most money for a little carton of strawberries, $15 way back in the day. And they had a mindset around quality ingredients. I've been to Italy, and Italy and Greece. Folks could sit around all day and have discussions about pleasant discussions, not so much the heated debates about who had the best tomatoes. And I was like, wow, they're having all of these conversations around food because it's so entrenched in their culture, right? The respect for farmers and the soil, and everybody's growing something in the way their grandmothers preserve tomatoes or dry the tomatoes. So that's been removed from our culture, right? That's why I say that what I'm calling the Afronomics, Afroflowonomics, or the ways of the grandmothers, it's a lot of information that's in there. There's a lot of information, a lot of value that other folks are capitalizing off of. So all that to say, I don't prefer cheese at this point in dairy, right? And I can have, that being said, there's something that I use, and it's called the plant milk bag that I, where's my plant milk bag? I hope I didn't gift it to someone. But anyway, I have something, if you look back on this channel, I call it a plant milk bag. So there are many produce bags. Again, it's been like 30 something years. I'll experiment with everything. So I've used some that are kind of like cheesecloth when I'm making milks and the texture of the milk. So I'm very into the texture and the scents and the flavors. So if you're not using something, you got to have something to replace it with, right? So you're having a pleasant experience, and I really love my lifestyle. So the material that I make it out of is so nice and sturdy that I get a nice, smooth texture. And although I have fancy equipment, there are a lot of things that I use, like my Grandma Lou coconut grater. Many things that I like. Again, I've got all of this fancy equipment, but I love, I have my Grandma Lou's coconut grater, and my grandmother used to say, I'm going to shave this coconut clean as your hand, and she'd be done. 1, 2, 3. And I found her food always tasted better than stuff made in a processor, right? And there is a reason why. In addition, there's a lot of information that you get when you are preparing your own food. So we can then talk about it. But when you have an experience, then you become grounded, and it gives you clarity. And clarity is worth its weight in gold. So I can have milks, and that's why I use that plant milk bag, and I made it, and I still have some for the folks that are interested, because I don't have a whole bunch of products to sell. I just don't. There's many things. People have asked me to sell so many things, even with coaching clients and fitness clients, but I can't because I don't use it. I cannot sell something that I don't use. I can't. And I've used every protein powder on the market. And so I don't feel like you really need to do all those things. So I use a plant milk bag. So the ones I have left, those you can find at, somebody asked me for that on the Body-Culinary Etsy shop. I think it has a hyphen between, so some people said they couldn't find it. But it's the material of it. It's very, very sturdy. I've used plant milk bags to sprout in during my travels. I've done so much with one bag if you don't have a juicer. You know, I like to keep things very simple. If I don't have all these equipment, No problem. And I love hand tools because it's like a meditation to me. So if I want milks, it's learning how to manipulate the fresh, living, whole ingredients. To me, it is an art form. It is also a form of meditation. It's a form of self-care. And I know exactly what's in my food. So a lot of times folks beating themselves up and trying to improve their skin or to lose weight. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a secret. You don't know what's in the food that you're eating at restaurants. I'm going to tell you, I've worked in restaurants and food prep places and gourmet eateries. You don't know how the food is being prepared. And a lot of times that makes a big difference when it comes to oils and salts, even other kinds of preservatives. Even I remember in culinary school making sausage from scratch. And I remember I didn't eat it. That's one thing I didn't eat, but the preservatives and the pink salt and the, what's that chemical? There's a chemical preservative. This escapes me right now. But there's a preservative that's put in it. So even when it's fresh made, you can't see. And the amount of fat that's put in to emulsify it, through the grinder. This was stuff made straight from scratch. So my eyes, I have another frame of reference from having such a wide range of experience with food. So hopefully this answers your question about cheese. I do not crave cheese. There are other things that I do that I found that are delicious and that I'm satisfied with. So taking that out, I knew I had to find something to replace it with, because many of us are coming off of addiction. And I used to be addicted to food. So I knew very early on that I had to find ways to be very creative with my food and to be able to have food that I could share with my family members, right? Because if you don't, and you're a mom, or even when you go around other people, I used to think in my mind, either I'm going to go on their side or they're going to come on my side. So I know how to come to teachers, to the schoolhouse, to other people bearing gifts, right? So the people are like, oh, wow, that's delicious. And I shut up. Usually I don't come saying vegan, vegetarian. I shut up and serve. That's what Grandma Lou did. And I serve beautiful food and walk away. And usually I've been to Southern family barbecues, people are drinking and carrying on. They're like, what's that thing you gave me? I said, that was sea vegetable. Yeah, where can I get the whole? Let me get a piece of paper. And I'm thinking like, this guy from the hood, this old man, I was like, it's actually seaweed. He said, it's okay, baby. Just tell me where to get it. So that's usually been my experience, the way I present it. And present things in a way that's attractive. I'm very sensitive to who my audience is, right? But I'm also clear. There's certain things that are going to take me out. I'm intent to the best of my ability on keeping my womb, preserving my vitality. I'd rather not wear makeup. That's an option if I wanted to, but that's not my preference, right? So self-care to me, health and relaxation are my number one beauty product. So, hey, Rachel, uniquely beautiful. You can also use nutritional yeast and fresh cashew nuts. So there's so much. I mean, I can go on and on. I've done so many experimentations. So for many people, I found after 11 and a half years of being like 100% living foods, many of us have a tendency to overdo the cashew nuts. And when you see the cashew trees, I had a cashew tree right outside of my yard. And when it's really hot in the tree, when they're ripe, I can hear them all day hitting the ground outside, right? I could just hear periodically. Me and my sister would take turns going outside to collect the cashew off the tree. And most people have never seen the cashew fruit. Most of us are overeating the nuts and overdoing the nutritional yeast. So again, we're bringing the mentality of burger, fries, cheese, even to raw vegan foods and nutritional yeast. And if many of us, if our gut bacteria is out of whack, sometimes we may not need to be eating yeast. So not to be a party pooper. So again, it can be an option for somebody making a transition. But definitely part of the work that we do in the cocoon and with nutrition is starting to listen to what is your mentality around eating. Because if I look at most of the channels for vegan eating, after a while, it's like we've removed the flesh, but we've cooked all the medicine and heated all the medicine out of the food. Right. So there's a mentality, and I'm not meaning to be a party pooper. Anything that I say is not the truth. If it doesn't resonate, take whatever resonates with you. If it doesn't resonate, leave it right here. But usually there's an experience that we're trying to have. And so when many people ask me for recipes, there's no shortage of recipes. If you're interested, like in how I just came to this mindset, there's something I wrote quite a while ago called Whole Living Foods in the Hood. Right. And so that I've been saying to people and clients for years to See if you can find a food co-op, or to shop in bulk, or to grab somebody and shop in bulk at a wholesaler. And it can really give you another experience to work with all the stuff. When you buy stuff by the case, you don't want to waste that stuff. So you have a whole nother kind of experience in your food preparation and your creativity, right? Then you'll really see. But a lot of times we're saying we're eating unprocessed foods or whole foods. And if you look at most people's carts is still full of a lot of boxes, right? So the whole fresh ingredient is a mentality, right? Let's say if we're eating nutritional yeast and all those cashews, how much is a serving? A lot of times we're still eating too much, and you can tell the liver and can't handle such massive amounts of fat. If you see what it takes to get a cashew out of a shell, and handling an almond, right? I have almond trees all around me. If you really see what it takes to get the almond out of the shell, you will understand natural portion control. So for anyone that is endeavoring or is interested in coming for a visit to Central America, to just do a focus time for yourself, a reprieve, to create a personal cocoon. The virtual retreats, they're very limited. And I don't know if there's only one per month, one or two per month. You can contact me at info@Body-Culinary, bodyculinary.com. And then also, if you're interested, I had several people contact me. I've just had several groups of individuals and people come visit, just to come spend time in the garden, so they know what to do, have ideas what to do on how to start their garden when they're home. And it's not just starting a garden, it's bigger. It's a mentality. This is a mentality. It's a way of life. That is not a diet. This is not a diet. It's a lifestyle. So if you can shift, or what I say a lot, retraining your eyes. When you get clear, there's certain things, even going from a junk food addict, there's many things you could not pay me to eat. And that's the beauty of clarity. And that was also a lot of investing myself in education, and have given myself certain experiences on my own, over 3 decades. So you can use that, but also whatever you're going to make the nutritional yeast and the cheese. I invite you to pay attention to what you're looking to experience with the food. And if you're feeling satiated, and I want you to question if these foods and all these recipes, if they're really boosting your immune system. If they're boosting your immune system, and do you understand what is enough of a portion? Are you eating for beauty? Are you eating for vitality? Are you eating for longevity? Are you eating just for stress? Are you using food as your pacifier? And I invite you not to demonize it, not to make yourself bad or wrong, but I invite you to consider there's more than that. So sometimes it may seem like a party pooper, like I'm being difficult sometimes. I'm not looking to be difficult, but sometimes I'm like, you could save yourself 25, 30 years. I'm not going to be the person to send you to buy 5 million supplements. It's just not me. There's plenty of people that'll do that. I don't think it's necessary. So food is literally, it's primarily, it's literally, the medicine is literally inside the food. So it's a different retraining of your eyes, and it's a different experience. So I hope that makes sense. All right, y'all. See you later. Go get on this bicycle. And let's see. How do I work this computadora? Talk to you guys later. Feel free to subscribe, comment. And I'd love to hear respectfully your feedback in the comments.